Have you ever considered putting anything that belongs to an animal inside of you?
Welcome to ReligionWinked TV, where my spiritual ears stay.
Well, 2 months after David Bennett Sr. decided to have a pig transplant to replace his heart, um, he passed away. My condolences and prayers go out to the family and anyone else who may consider doing this, because I feel that this is very ungodly, very demonic, wicked, and evil to even consider taking a pig's heart and putting it inside of a human being. I told you I've been so disgusted with science and the things that they've been trying to do as far as men having uteruses, men having children, breast implants, all kinds. I mean, hey, to each his own. But over here, we try to do the best we can to abide and obey the laws of God, to abide by and to obey the laws of God. And just some of this stuff that mankind takes upon himself to do and to encourage other people to do is definitely breaking not only moral laws, or I should say, not only breaking God's law, but the laws of morality, the laws of humanity, the laws of God did not create us to be coexisting with pig parts within us. Do you agree? Let me know what you think about this whole pig transplant, and we'll get right into the story. So what we have here, guys, is a man who went under surgery, went under the knife, under anesthesia, having a transplant with a genetically modified pig. Now, the benefits to agriculture includes resistance to disease, altering the carcass composition such that it is healthier to consume, improving the pig's resistance to heat stress, and protecting the environment. Now, y'all can decide if this is what you want pigs to do for you in this time, in these last days, but I do not want pigs being medicine, agriculture, or anything else for me other than that damn bacon that I finally switched over to turkey, and I don't like it, so I won't be eating bacon much longer, okay? But definitely I won't be eating genetically modified bacon. Nor having a dang on heart transplant, okay, people? Now, I'm taking the life loss of Mr. Bennett very seriously here, and you should as well. That's why I'm trying to encourage you through humor, through seriousness, not to get a pig's heart transplanted into your body. All right. So we have here Mr. Bennett. Basically, a patient in groundbreaking heart transplant dies. How groundbreaking is it if the person doesn't live? See, these people are so sick. Just to be able to transplant the pig heart into you is their success. Whether you live or not, hell, don't they know that some people can't take human to human organs? Where did they get this bright idea to go human to animal? I think it has a lot to do with, y'all. Just hear me out. Remember how they said it was bats, it was rats, it was all kinds of things over in Wuhan, China, back in March of 2020? Okay, and it said it can transfer from humans to animals. They can genetically modify all they want except for my blood. Check out the video prior to this one or the one before this one called G6PD. They can't genetically modify the real Hebrew Israelites, okay? That's all I'm saying. The real Hebrew Jews, right? The African Jews. So, patient in groundbreaking heart transplant dies. My heart prayers and condolences go out to Mr. Bennett, David Bennett Sr., who had received a heart from a genetically modified pig, a procedure that may yet offer hope to millions of Americans needing transplants. And I'm just going to go, not only are they going to need a transplant, they're going to need some mental health services, some soul counseling, the Spirit of the Lord to resurrect unto life, okay? And renew their minds. Be not conformed to this world, okay? If these millions of people, they say Americans, but we know they're going to go in third world countries and everywhere else and try this, right? And Spirit says they're probably harvesting your hearts so that when you need one, you get the pig and they get the real one. I don't know. It's just some weird stuff going on with this genetically modified pig and this transplant. It blew my mind. This should be on my program called, man, that freaked me out, because this really freaked me out when I heard about this, y'all. So, we have these men always trying to make decisions for people, and they spend a lot of time in science trying to outdo God and go against God, oppose God, and that's where they say, hey, over in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 4 through 9 are where the lawless men are where the men who don't like God, they oppose themselves against God. They oppose themselves against God and try to outdo everything God ever did, such as the first surgery with Adam when he put the dew on the ground and opened up his body and formed and made Eve out of his rib, right? Always trying to outdo God. So now they put it in the minds of Americans. Again, false hope, if you ask me. Just like with Christianity, you're sitting around here letting these people play God with your lives when you don't have to do that, people. I mean, life or death, like the Messiah said. I think it was Andrew. Somebody asked the Messiah, what is it of a man? He said, you're born, you die, and that little dash in between, how you live and treat people and deal with people, this ain't the way to go, okay? Now, I know his family is I can't say if they're regretting the decision to do this, because maybe it gave him a couple of more months of life. I'm not sure. But it's sick to insert anything into your body that's not of God and that it was not intended to do or be used for, or its purposes, right? So, we have a genetically modified pig was transplanted into 57-year-old David Bennett at the University of Maryland Medical Center in Baltimore in January. So he really didn't look 57 to me, y'all. He looked a lot older and stressed, and the thought of dying, and the thoughts running through his mind, and people making a spectacle out of his ground-breaking surgery. He doesn't look like he was 57 years old. I just have to add that here, okay? So this story is by Ronnie Karen Rabin, March 9th, 2022. Now, the first person to have his failing heart replaced with that of a genetically altered pig in a groundbreaking operation died Tuesday afternoon at the University of Maryland Medical Center 2 months after the transplant surgery. I just can't call it groundbreaking anymore, you all. It doesn't sit well with me, because these grounds, they should not be trying to break, because these are the grounds that's breaking the laws of God. When you try to play God and insert animal parts into human beings' bodies. Now, David Bennett Sr., who lived in Maryland, was 57. He had severe heart disease and had agreed to receive the experimental pig's heart after he was rejected from several waiting lists to receive a human heart, because it probably was no use. They're like, why waste a human heart on this man when you guys know he's gonna die? So this is where they probably allegedly come up with this brilliant idea. Well, let's give him a pig's heart. We've been cultivating these genetically modified pig's hearts for however long now. Let's break it out. Let's do some groundbreaking surgery. Are you serious, people? Are you serious? Why was he rejected from a human heart? They knew, he knew, his family knew. But again, to keep him alive as long as they can, they all may have agreed and got behind this 57-year-old man to do this transplant. So it was very unclear whether his body had rejected the foreign organ. It should have been unclear, and it had every right to reject it, because our bodies are not supposed to house organs of animals. This sounds disgusting. Quote, there was no obvious cause identified at the time of his death, a hospital spokeswoman said. Genetically modified pig's heart being in him is not a cause to identify the cause of his death. So hospital officials said they could not comment further on the cause of death because his physicians had yet to conduct a thorough examination. And what examination would that be? The only thing that needs to be examined are these people's brains, are these people's psychics, are these people wickedness. And according to Genesis 6 and 5, their hearts are continually evil all the damn day long, okay? They plan to publish the results in a peer-reviewed medical journal. Again, all for science, all for clicks and views, all for clouds, all for all of that, okay? So I'm not going to keep you here that much longer, but basically one of the doctors, Dr. Bartley Griffith, the surgeon who performed the transplant, said the hospital staff was devastated by the loss of Mr. Bennett. Were you more devastated by the loss of his life, or the fact that your groundbreaking heart transplant lasted no more than 2 months? In a man who probably allegedly had severe heart disease, that's why he was rejected a human heart. Quote, he proved to be a brave and noble patient who fought all the way to the ends, Dr. Griffith said. He fought all the way to the end, y'all. Y'all hear that? So they must have knew as soon as they put that pig's heart in him that the fight was on at that point. To the ends. They weren't too sure that this heart transplant was going to work. The poor man got the heart transplant not to fight anymore, at least with his heart. You know? I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about it down below, because Mr. Bennett became known by millions of people around the world for his courage and steadfast will to live. I don't think anybody agreeing to take a heart transplant from a pig is willing to live or are putting their life in jeopardy. and no longer probably want to live, because that doesn't sound like a good match. I personally believe, I don't know, Mr. Bennett and his family probably should have stood more on faith. Not to say that they didn't, and faith works different for all different people. Hear me out, guys. But I would have trusted the word of God before I put a pig's heart in me. But when people are desperate for their family members to live and are not ready for them to go and be with the Lord or wherever they reside after life, they will do just about anything to keep their loved ones around. And as we see here, this pig transplant is one of them. The heart transplant was one of a number of pioneering procedures in recent months in which organs from genetically altered pigs were used to replace organs in humans. I haven't heard of anything but this, but I'm sure all this replacing human organs, they're getting rich off the real ones, okay? Somebody got the real ones. I don't think they're just replacing defected, disease, and compromised human organs here, okay? The process called xenotransplantation offers new hope for tens of thousands of patients with ailing kidneys, hearts, and other organs, as there is an acute shortage of donated organs. Guys, I think this has a lot to do with covering up human harvesting of organs. It just sounds wicked, demonic, and crazy to me. You guys let me know what you think down below. I am going to leave the rest of this article for you guys to go over. Oh, hold on, New York. Hold on, New York. New York, what the heck you doing up in here? Talking about some surgeons announced in October that they had successfully attached a kidney grown in a genetically altered pig to a brain-dead human patient, finding that the organ worked normally and produced urine for 54 hours. And then what happened? Is the person still alive? The man was already brain dead. Why are y'all working on these people? Did you have permission from the family like you did not have permission from Henrietta Lacks and her Healer genes? Okay? What was it, Healer? Yeah, I think it was Healer genes. I'll put it in here if I have to, if I misspoke. But I know Henrietta Lacks took some cells out of her body and they were supposed to die off but keep reproducing to this day. She's been dead and gone. The woman ain't getting no money out of it. Science done went on to be rich because of it, because those genes she had in her, baby, you can use them in a whole lot of other things. Oh man, oh man, oh man. 54 hours. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. In January, surgeons at the University of Alabama at Birmingham reported that they had, for the first time, successfully transplanted kidneys from a genetically modified pig into the abdomen of a 57-year-old brain-dead man. The kidneys functioned and produced urine for 3 days. Then what? These people are already brain dead. Then what? Did their brain start to function? You should have been doing a brain transplant instead of a kidney dang on transplant. Are you serious? Are you seeing how they're treating our brain dead relatives, family, friends, people in this world, period? Who's giving these people permission? The families? for them to operate on brain dead relatives? So these sick people at UAB, the surgeons there said they hope to launch a small clinical trial with live human patients by the end of the year. Seriously. So Mr. Bennett had his surgery back in January. Shortly after Mr. Bennett's heart surgery, the Washington Post reported that he had a criminal record, y'all, stemming from assault 34 years ago, in which he repeatedly stabbed a young man in a fit of jealousy, leaving him paralyzed. What the hell? What does this have to do with them going in, doing a groundbreaking transplant, pig to human heart transplant? Or I should say pig heart to human transplant. However, you know what the heck I'm saying, y'all. Come on, but what does this criminal record have to do 34 years ago? Alright, so the man passed away at 57. Come on, y'all, do the math down below. He was 34 years ago charged for repeatedly stabbing a young man in a fit of jealousy, leaving him paralyzed. No disrespect, but they left this man dead. Nobody deserves what he did to that man 34 years ago. Not at all. I'm not saying that at all. Come on, y'all know me better than that. But the man is still alive. This is why I want to say the title of this video is A Transplant Gone Wrong or Just a Decision. Because this man made a decision 34 years ago to stab someone in a fit of jealousy, leaving him paralyzed, and then turn right around 34 years later, and decide to allow them to put a pig's heart in him. And he died 2 months later. When I see pieces of information like this stuck into an article, it's like they're trying to say, well, his karma, his past caught up to him. Listen, we all know what God has for us is for us, right? So with that being said, they tell you the victim, he spent 2 decades in a wheelchair, paralyzed from the waist down, and suffered numerous medical complications, including a stroke that left him cognitively impaired before he died in 2007 at the age of 40, according to his sister Leslie Shoemaker. So both Mr. Shoemaker and Mr. Bennett are no longer with us. Decisions that we make can cause us to lose our lives, y'all. So I don't want to talk about the stabbing no more, but let's look at this. Mr. Bennett's son, David Bennett Sr., who was a child at the time of the stabbing, has said that he does not want to discuss his father's past, and emphasized that his father was contributing to medical science by undergoing the experimental transplant in hope to potentially save patient lives in the future. Well, Mr. Bennett Jr., I hope this deters and turn people away from potentially saving their life or ending their life with the transplant of a pig's heart. The heart given to Mr. Bennett came from a genetically altered pig provided by Revivicor. Okay, it could be Revivicor, a regenerative medicine company based in Blacksburg, Virginia. What I'm going to tell you right here, it says in that Bible, it says by the washing and the regeneration of the Holy Spirit, y'all. I can only encourage you, and maybe if you start saying that for 34 years, or if you've been saying it for 34 years, or if you begin to say it for 34 years, it may come to life in your life. It may come alive in your life, you know? Boy, this article is crazy, y'all. But I'm gonna go ahead and just let me see. Wow. So basically, another gene was also inactivated to prevent the pig's heart from continuing to grow after it was implanted. In addition, 6 human genes were inserted into the genome of the donor pig. Modifications designed to make the pig's organs more tolerable to the human immune system. They have to do too much to make it compatible, because it isn't so, should never be so, and just simply does not exist in the real world. Science is not a real world. I mean, I can't say it's not a real world. It's a world that opposes God. So at the end of the day, the transplanted heart performed well initially, and there were no signs of rejections for several weeks. Mr. Bennett spent time with his family, did physical therapy, and watched the Super Bowl, hospital's officials said. All right, and with that being said, quote, "We hope this story can be the beginning of hope and not the end," Mr. Bennett said. "We also hope that what was learned from his surgery will benefit future patients and hopefully one day end the organ shortage that costs so many lives each year." Now, again, to me, this family seems hell bent on helping science and establishing science, and they don't take into consideration that putting a pig into your family member's replaced heart, putting a pig's heart into your family member, maybe took his life a lot sooner. Maybe he could have learned how to live with that heart disease and might still be here. But you seem like you're focusing more on people panhandling to science and catering to science than life itself. Science has proven on multiple occasions that it can take the life of a human being and not even second guess it, not even think about it twice, right? So with that being said, you guys let me know what you think about the patient in the groundbreaking heart transplant that dies, Mr. David Bennett Sr., who had received a heart from a genetically modified pig, and the procedure that may yet offer hope to millions of Americans needing transplant, dies 2 months after the transplant. And his family basically wants you to know that Mr. Bennett's transplant was initially deemed successful. It is still considered a significant step toward, because the pig's heart was not immediately rejected and continued to function for well over a month, passing a critical milestone for transplant patients. Again, they basically want you to know that let me read this part one last time. "We hope that this story can be the beginning of hope and not the end." The beginning of hope and not the end, Mr. Bennett said. "We also hope that what was learned from his surgery will benefit future patients and hopefully one day end the organ shortage that costs so many lives each year." That's kind of contradictory, because somebody's out here stealing up the organs and y'all saying it ain't enough organs. So somebody's telling a lie somewhere. We give condolences to Mr. Bennett Sr. and his family, David Bennett Jr., and the hospital, the doctors, anybody else that goes out and tries to support science by agreeing and making a decision to put a pig's heart in your body it seems to me that you're looking to die. You're not looking to live. It's unheard of. I know these people told you that mankind was raised by wolves. Mowgli, Blue, the Jungle Book and all the myths over there, but this is real life. This is unheard of. So I would suggest you not to do it. Comment down below if you're gonna do it. Know a family member that's done it. How you feel about them doing this, and Mr. Bennett was not discharged, and several days ago his condition started to deteriorate, hospital officials said. So he was in the hospital pretty much the whole time, from the surgery in January up until he, expired a couple of days ago, or 2 months after the surgery. So guys, let me know what you think down below. This is really, kind of a sad story, bittersweet, sad story. Again, how do you feel about science wanting to just perform groundbreaking surgeries from animals to humans and transplanting of organs? How do you feel about this family seeming to not care more about science, but it just seems like the person who lost their life, Mr. Bennett, signed up for this procedure, signed up to be a transplant receiver because they say there's not enough organs in the world. Well, if we learn to take better care of ourselves, and if science and the societal world of things out here stop introducing certain chemicals and viruses and plagues and cancers and autoimmune things going on and on and on around here, we may be in a better place. We may be able to keep our own organs. If the government, people, man on man, inhumane and crude behavior could somehow cease and desist, we have more organs around here. And so with that being said, guys, what do you think they're doing with all the organs when people pass away? I know they say we donate organs, but there's a lot of people who have lost their lives. So I'm trying to think where all these organs are and why there's not enough for the Mr. Bennett's of the world. Well, there probably was, but in Mr. Bennett's case, he didn't seem like he can be approved for a human heart, right? But just let me know down below, guys. I don't want to ramble on. I'm just picking things out of my spirit to talk about here. What do you think about the patient in the groundbreaking heart transplant with a pig that dies, a genetically modified pig? And with that being said, I'm going to end it here, y'all, because I'm about to go off on these people right here who think they know every dang on thing, who try to be God and play God, and they're the children of disobedience. They're the lawless men and or women in this world that do everything opposite against God, everything to oppose God, everything to be God in this world, and get you to believe that they are God, so you no longer stand on the word of God or your faith in God, and you put your soul, your heart, your organs, your life, and all that you have in the hands of these people who only want to treat you like animals, sheep and cattle, now pig, and give you their heart. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do down below. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and let me know if you like content like this. and or not. And I will see you on the next live, upload, and or premiere. Peace. Shalom, everybody. God bless you. May He bless you, keep you, make His face to shine upon you, be gracious unto you, lift His face and countenance up on you, and may His shalom peace be in you, on you, and all around you. Have a good night, everybody. Yes, this is 3/12/22 at 11:41 p.m. East Coast time, and we did it. This is like the fourth video. All right, peace, y'all.